Please remember, there are different approaches, there are different methods. What we have to remember is that all these techniques, all these approaches, are the tools available with us. We will need to decide as to which tool to use under which situation. Now that is going to be our discretion, and that is what you. So the point that you must remember, there is no rule that in this situation use this, in this situation use. There is no such rule given anywhere in the world as far as the valuation is concerned. There are methods available, there are approaches available. You as the registered valuer assess the situation, assess the requirement, assess the purpose. Based on that requirement, based on that purpose, you have to take a call and take a decision as to which method or which approach will give you the fair value. Use that method, use that approach, arrive at the fair value. Because I have told you already, different methods, different approaches will give you different fair value. It will give you different value. I think I should put it this way. So different methods, different approaches will give you different values. Out of those values, you will have to take a call as to which is the fair value. And what is the fair value? I have already defined in the very beginning. And incidentally, these sessions are getting recorded. So in case you want to play these recordings back and see as to what we have discussed from the very beginning, will be available to you. I'm sure these links will be shared with you in the course of time, so you would be able to take advantage of that. Robin, I hope that answers your question. Yeah.
Yeah, there is some thumb rule for the approaches and equivalent to the situation.
Yes, there is a thumb rule. There is a thumb rule. Thumb rule number one. Thumb rule number one. When you are trying to find the value, fair value of an asset as a going concern, then the thumb rule is going to be that income generating potential of the asset. You can mute yourself, please. Please mute yourself. So income generating potential of that asset is going to be the basis of finding the fair value. So that is thumb rule number one. And thumb rule number two, if you are going for valuation of an asset based on the premise of liquidation, that means the company is going in for liquidation. So when the company is going in for liquidation, obviously there is no meaning to use the income approach. And why? Because when the company is going in for liquidation, obviously the company has lost the momentum, lost the stream to run as a going concern, and that is the reason why this company is going in for liquidation. And therefore that's where you will use the asset approach or the cost approach. Both are same, names are different, but both are same. Thumb rule number three, if you are doing valuation of a company which is listed on a stock exchange, in that case you will have to use the market approach. And why you will have to use the market approach in case of a company which is listed on a stock exchange? Because you have a SEBI guidelines with regard to valuation. And not only you have SEBI guidelines with regard to the valuation, but Ind AS 113, which is on fair value measurement. Ind AS 113 gives a valuation hierarchy, and the first label in that hierarchy is the quoted price. So if you are doing valuation for a company or for an asset which is listed on any stock exchange or any stock exchange, so in that case the thumb rule is you will have to use the label 1, that is the quoted price. These are the three thumb rules that I can share with you at this point in time. Hope that answers your query. Good. So let's move, friends, now, and we come to fair value and adjustments. Now what is the meaning of this? Meaning of this is that when we are doing valuation, and please remember, and I'm repeating it once again, and I'm purposely repeating it once again because I want all of you to have this become part of your DNA, that whenever we are talking in terms of finding the valuation, we are talking in terms of finding the fair value. So we are talking in terms of finding the fair value. So now when you want to find out the fair value, obviously you will need to make certain adjustments. So what are the adjustments that we need to make? Depending on the situation, there can be many adjustments that we need to make. And the first adjustment that we need to make is known as D-lock. D-lock. Now what is D-lock? D-lock is discount for lack of control. अब आप देखिए बहुत आसान है. It's not a very difficult thing. इसमें
ऑडियो चला गया था, वापस से रिपीट कर देंगे क्या?
Yeah, sure.
ऑडियो पूरा चला गया।
Okay.
हम लोगों ने नहीं सुना।
Okay, sure. Am I audible now?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, thank you, Samantha. So please feel free to interrupt me and always tell me in case my audio is gone. Good.
Okay.
So tell me, what is the last that you could hear me?
तो D-lock से शुरू हुआ है।
Very good. Okay, fantastic. So जब हम वैल्यूएशन कर रहे हैं तो पहली बात तो बहुत क्लियर है कि जब हम वैल्यूएशन कर रहे हैं इसका सीधा सा मतलब है वी आर ट्राइंग टू फाइंड आउट अ फेयर वैल्यू. अब चूंकि वी आर ट्राइंग टू फाइंड आउट फेयर वैल्यू, so that means what? That means when we are doing the evaluation, in the figure that we have arrived at, we may have to make certain adjustments. And these are refinements so as to arrive at the fair value. So what is the first adjustment that we may have to make? And that is known as D-lock, discount for lack of control. Meaning what? Meaning I am transferring some shares of mine to you, right? And these shares that I am transferring to you not going to give you any control on my company. So therefore, since you are buying these shares from me, what you will expect? You will expect that there must be some discount given to you for lack of control. Because by purchasing these shares, you are not going to come on the board of my company. Therefore, you will not have any controlling right. So since you do not have a controlling right, it is a disadvantage to you. So since it is a disadvantage to you, you may expect a discount on account of lack of control. And that is known as D-lock, discount for lack of control. D-lock, simple. And please remember, there may be some question in your exam, what is the full form of D-lock? And D-lock is discount for lack of control, nothing else. If you have understood the concept, I am sure you will understand the answer also. That is number one. Number two, there can be an adjustment which is discount for lack of marketability. Now, what is the meaning of discount for lack of marketability? I am sure you can understand. If you are purchasing shares of a company which is not a listed company, so since the company is not listed, obviously you have a limitation. What is the limitation? Limitation is of marketability. That means though you are purchasing these shares, but you may not be able to transfer these shares at a free will. That means कल को अगर आपको जरूरत पड़े तो आप अपनी मर्जी के हिसाब से ट्रांसफर को शेयर नहीं कर सकते हैं. You can't, so you have a problem of marketability. So there is a lack of marketability. And therefore, you will always like to have a discount for lack of marketability. And that is known as D-long, discount for lack of marketability. But please remember, whether it is D-lock or D-long, it is not that it is granted automatically. So no seller is going to give you discount unless until you ask for it. So you need to be aware. If you are doing it on behalf of, if you are doing the valuation on behalf of a buyer, then you need to be aware that you have a point to command a D-long, discount for lack of control, or you must be aware that you can command discount for lack of marketability. So these are the two discounts, that is D-lock and D-long. The question that I have seen in the paper that comes, simply ask for the full form. D-lock की full form क्या है, D-long की full form क्या है. तुरंत अगर आपको समझ में है तो आप तुरंत आसानी से आंसर कर पाएंगे. And remember the advantage of such questions, and please pay attention. इस तरह के questions का सबसे बड़ा advantage क्या है, नंबर मार्क्स तो आपको पूरा मिलता है और समय आपका बहुत कम जाता है. यानी कि D-lock और D-long का फुल फॉर्म अगर आपको याद है, 5 सेकंड में आपको क्वेश्चन को आंसर कर पाओगे. इसका मतलब यू आर सेविंग सो मच ऑफ टाइम, and that time which you are saving in answering a question like this, you can use it for some other questions like Habu, highest and best use इज वेरी सिंपल. इफ यू रिमेंबर यू विल आंसर इट वेरी इजीली. एंड ये क्वेश्चंस मैंने देखा है जनरली आते हैं. हाबू, डी लॉन्ग, डी लॉक, पोरी, पोर्ट, दोज क्वेश्चंस आर देयर. थर्ड एडजस्टमेंट, and that is adjustment for surplus cash or any other non operating asset available with the company. अब देखिए समझ के लीजिए, what you are doing valuation of an entity based on the discounted cash flow method. तो जब आप एक किसी कंपनी का वैल्यूएशन कर रहे हैं बेस्ड ऑन द डिस्काउंटेड कैश फ्लो मेथड, आप क्या कर रहे हो? आप उस कंपनी के जो भी ऑपरेटिंग एसेट्स हैं, राइट, उस कंपनी की जो भी ऑपरेटिंग एसेट्स और लाइबिलिटीज हैं, उन सब का इस्तेमाल करके आप अगले 5, 10, 15, 20 साल में कितना कैश कमाओगे, और राइट वो आप फाइंड आउट कर रहे हो. एंड बेस्ड ऑन दैट यू आर यूजिंग द डिस्काउंटिंग एंड यू आर ट्राइंग टू फाइंड आउट द वैल्यू ऑफ द बिजनेस ऑन अ गोइंग कंसर्न. अब जरा ध्यान से सुनिए. सो व्हाट यू हैव डन, you have using the discounted cash flow method based on use of all the operating assets, all the operating liabilities, you worked out how much is going to be cash available to you for next 20-30 years, and based on that, using the two-stage discounting model, you have arrived at the value of 1000 crore. ठीक है? So 1000 crore is coming the intrinsic value based on your DCF. Now please pay attention. This company is having a piece of land available somewhere in Ranjangaon in Pune. Now, in this valuation of 1000 crore that you have worked out using the discounted cash flow method, in that valuation of 1000 crore, is this land which is available to this company in Ranjangaon, Pune, is that reflecting in this 1000 crore? Answer is no. And why answer is no? Because this figure of 1000 crore that you have arrived at by taking into account only the operating assets. So this land which is available to this company in Ranjangaon, it is not reflecting in this 1000 crore. So what? Meaning you will have to make an adjustment. What adjustment? Adjustment is you will need to find out what is the value of this land lying in Ranjangaon. Suppose it is coming 100 crore. So you will have to add this 100 crore to the figure of 1000 crore to arrive at the value of this company, which is going to be now 1100 crore. So that is the third adjustment, and that is making adjustment for any non-operating asset. Please remember and pay attention. It may be a situation that the company is having certain investment in marketable securities. Company may be having investment in marketable securities. Now you have investment in marketable securities, but when you did the projections, financial projections or the cash flow projections, did you take the effect of these marketable securities? Answer is no, because when you are making projections, you will make the projections of the operations and not for the non-operating income. So what you will need to do, you will need to make an adjustment of the value of these investment in marketable security which is available, add it to the value which you have arrived at using the discounted cash flow method. So these are the adjustments that you will have to make. Then there is one more adjustment that you would need to make, and that is known as control premium. So what is control premium? So let's say for example I am transferring I am holding, let's say 26% shares in a listed company, and I am transferring these 26% shares to you. So 26% share means a lot, because if you hold 26% share in a company, you know what is the exclusive right that you have? Exclusive right that you have is you can hold this company from passing any special resolution. So that is one kind of control. Second is, let's say for example in this company you already have 40% shares and I am holding 11% shares. So I am transferring these 11% shares in this listed company. So with my 11% share, what is going to happen is your current holding of 40% will become 51%. That means because of the transfer of 11% from my side to you, your holding in the company is becoming 51%. that means you will have the control on this company. So in a case like this, if I am aware, I can ask for a premium, and that is known as control premium. So whatever may be the value which is arrived at otherwise, I can ask a control premium to be added. That can be anything, and that is a matter of negotiation between the buyer and the seller. So let's say, for example, based on the discounted cash flow method, the value is arrived as 1000 crore. I, as the seller of these shares, ask you as the buyer that since because of transfer of 11% from me to you, you will have the controlling stake in this company. Your stake will become a controlling stake in this company, and therefore you must pay me an extra premium. Depending upon who is in need, if I demand a premium of 50 crore, and if you as the buyer think, okay, it's worth it, then you will pay me 50 crore extra over and above 1000 crore, and that is your control premium. So friends, these are some of the adjustments that would need to be made when we are doing the fair value calculation of any asset. Now friends, let's move to the next one.